edition of In The Know. Yeah, I know. We try to drag this as long as possible before we started getting in the NCAA and international prospects heading into the draft. But since the Pelicans have all but given up playing their good players, we can't avoid this outcome any longer. So Jeremy, Mason, and I here to get on and answer all these draft questions for you guys. So let's get started.
The New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson. And Holiday, the dribble penetration. So tough going to the goal.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Mason, Jeremy, hello. I want to switch some stuff around, make it our typical setup. And yeah, I know magic stuff happening on the screen. Our guy Funky is already in the chat. Love to see him. Shout out Funky. He's always here rocking with us, fellas. I see Mason with the Yankees hat on. Mason, I'm not, again, everyone here knows I'm not much of a baseball follower. I need to get your thoughts on this this baseball bat shit going on. Apparently you're allowed to change the shape or weight balances of the bat, and that lets you hit a lot of home runs. Why is this legal?
Yeah, I mean, let's look. This is like the 3-point renaissance just in baseball form. You were asking before why people didn't start to take advantage of this 3-point, the math problem on 3-pointers, and I don't know enough to say how much of the difference the bats are making, but buy the same bats, use the same bats. I don't care. Every other team should be doing
it. Jeremy, do you have a rebuttal to Mason's wanton support of the bats?
Keep beating the shit out the Brewers like the state of Louisiana beat the shit out of Jeff Landry.
Let's go. I love it.
Respect that. We might have Jeremy here on an internet delay because of outages in New Orleans when it threatens to rain. You guys know the deal, so we'll try to make that work as best as we can. Yeah, I wasn't aware that you could do things to bats. I think this is shenanigans. Every team should use the same standard bat no matter what it is, and if it has to be a bat that's shaped like a torpedo or like a little javelin that you put in the RPGs, then so be it. That was my first impression. I'm like, did they just like take? I don't know. Anyways, enough baseball talk. That is.
Yeah, you hit your quota. I said to support my one winning team right now.
He said the Pels should make the balls smaller. Yeah, I think it makes the smaller balls means a greater chance of going in the basket. More basket than ball.
No, we got to get it bigger. We got to inflate them more and shrink the rims like
lower the rims. How about that? Lower the rims, and then on the pellet in the smoothie.
Lower the rims.
The Pelicans should be allowed to move the 3-point line right around to where those like Florida Lees are, and that way Brandon Ingram would be the best player in the NBA. Anyways, we're here to talk about the draft. I know you guys have been itching to talk about these guys. The tournament is going on. There's been a lot of fun games. I don't know if you guys had the pleasure of watching the Duke and Alabama game. I thought that was a good matchup between some of the heavyweights. Obviously, Duke is just on another level there. But yes, let me start. Let's ease into this pod by me asking, have you guys been watching the tourney any?
Yeah, I've been watching Cooper and the fellas, and I'm not gonna lie to you, like I know these teams, but I have watched Cooper.
Yeah. Hit or miss. But I feel like early in the tourney, you're watching a bunch of games at once, right? And so you have a hard time focusing. But yeah, been catching a lot of the tourney, and like I feel like obviously it's been very chalk, right? The best teams have been winning, but at least in the case of Duke, that means we get to watch some real prospects that could potentially be Pelicans playing. Not so much for I want to at some point I want to talk about just the fact that Rutgers did not even make the tourney. We're kind of asked this year and get your take on that. But watch the prospects that we could, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, Duke again on another level. They might end up having 5 guys that make the NBA via the draft or through undrafted. They have 3 guys that are projected in the lotto, potentially top 10 at the moment, and then there's at least another couple that are going to have at least a look from NBA organizations, if not just outright be drafted. So, yeah, J Dub needs to get that fiber. Jeremy, I'll let you answer that because I think you and I live close by.
If you can hear me, if I'm not in Morse code, blame AT&T for this nonsense. Blame AT&T. I haven't had internet for the last 50 hours. Longer than that, that's 54 hours, and I'm trying to use a hotspot to go live. Yeah, this is going exactly how I planned.
That's crazy. You need to get a serious reimbursement from AT&T on this. Yeah. I mean,
the words we will use will not be Christ-like. The words we use will not be Christ-like.
Just you know what? Just have ChatGPT drop a little complaint letter. That way you won't be using non-biblical words there. All right. I love the chat roasting Jeremy on this, but I guess my next question to you guys before we get into some of the questions that have been sent to us and some of the questions that are going to get into the chat is, do you guys have, so the Pelicans right now, to set the stage, have the 4th best lotto odds. They're 21-54. The Sixers are 23-51, just 2.5 games behind the Pelicans. The Sixers are on a 7-game losing streak, and they are 1-9 in their last 10. The Pelicans are on a 1-game winning streak, and they're 4-6 in their last 10.
A 1-game winning streak.
It is getting quite nerve-wracking here with the tank off, and it's not for a lack of trying on the Pelicans' part. I would say they sent their coach home today to start, which according to some out there, that may have hurt the tank. Benching Jordan Hawkins may have hurt the tank. Signing Elfrid Payton on a 10-day may have won them 2 games. I mean, I don't know, man. These are unfortunate series of events going on here, but yeah, the Pelicans are in a tight race here. They're not going to catch Charlotte. If they had any hope of catching Charlotte, it was tonight's game. This was a game where if they had lost, the Pelicans would have 20 wins, and the Charlotte would have 19 wins, and then it gets a little bit close, and you start securing the top 3 seed. But that's just not going to happen. So knowing that 4th is kind of where they're at, do you guys have a loose top 5 of these are the prospects I am looking for in order, top 5? And if you do, you go first, whoever you are.
I guess from what I've I'm trying to consume smart people stuff as I always do with the draft, because I don't watch enough of these guys to have a truly informed opinion. And I feel like from everything I've read, the top 4, no matter, there's some order questions, right? Of who you take. If you were at 3rd, it seems like there's not a general consensus there for 3 versus 4, but it feels like there's a top 4 there. And so I guess the question would then become, if you fell to 5, who's your number? Who's the top? Who's the 5th player you go for? And I don't know that one. Despite my Texas shirt, I'm not sure if Trey Johnson's that guy, but
no. Okay, let's just list it. List it out. One.
Yeah.
Just list your guys.
I mean, so Cooper 1, Dylan Harper 2. I can't shake liking Ace Bailey as 3. So that's my top 3. You have Edgecombe 4, and I don't know who 5 is yet for me. I don't have that guy yet.
All right, Jeremy, how about you?
All right, if it can get through translation, Cooper 1, then there's a gap. Dylan 2 in his own tier, then VJ and Ace together, and then I would put Trey, and I would put VJ ahead of Ace right now, and then I have Trey Johnson 5.
Okay. So what I'm doing here is
it
sharing.
Doesn't make it through customs.
Yeah, you good. We heard you.
Yeah, there's no tariffs on your list there. There, what I'm sharing. What I'm sharing is a screen that kind of shows the lottery odds there, and I think at 4, it's kind of important to have this visual there,
Mhm.
because it kind of shows you a like what's at stake with regards to the Pelicans pick, and also like it's not totally the end of the world in terms of percentages, and you lose a couple percents here and there if you drop a slot. Now, if you drop the 6, that's a really bad spot to be. You don't want to get to 6, but 4, some solid odds there to jump up. We like that. Anyways, with regards to the list that you guys provided, I would like to share mine. Number 1, obviously, no surprise there, Cooper Flag. I think earlier in the year, I would have had Dylan and Cooper neck to neck when Cooper was struggling, and then he turned the new year and he just hit another level that Dylan didn't hit, and it's just like, okay, this guy is a player that is going to end up analytically one of the best players to come out of college since Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson. I wonder if there's any coincidences there. Um, so Cooper at number 1, Dylan at number 2, and I really, really, really want to talk myself into VJ at number 3, but I can't. Dylan's just better, and he has the ability to play the lead guard position, where that's something like, the most optimist VJ supporters are like, maybe one day he can get to a spot where he can be a lead guard in the mold of Primal Oladipo or Donovan Mitchell or someone like that. But no one's projecting him to be um, something like that out the gate. His handle is not quite there. His the craft that Dylan has is it's not quite the same level. But a lot of people are saying get VJ on a team, give him those on ball reps early in his career in relatively low stakes environments, and maybe you have um, maybe you have something insane there because he is the most athletic player in the draft by far. Number 4 is super super tough for me. I am gonna go against the grain from both of you guys here. I'm gonna put the big man out of Duke, Kaman Malawak, at number 4. And we can go into my reasoning here in a second.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. And number 5, I will have Trey Johnson right now. I get it with Ace. I really do. 6'10, 6'11, rebounds the balls, blocks shots, can shoot over anybody. It's just I have to live my truth with regards to the numbers, and the numbers say he is one of the least impactful projected top 5 picks in recent memory. People that have had similar impact metrics to him, there's been like 20 to 30 guys that have gone in the lottery that have been complete and total busts, and there's been 2 guys that have turned into anything ever. And oh no, sorry, turned into to stars, and those are Jalen Brown and Zach Levine, and those guys are stars in their own right. The analytic models didn't love them. They were not efficient players in college. They had a ton of questions, but obviously they were incredible athletes, and they just did some stuff that people, most people can't do. Ace definitely falls into both those buckets, not very analytically sound, but also just does some stuff that, people can't do. But that's where I'm at with Ace. So now that I've listed my top 5, I guess let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I've one, I guess, question for you, bro. Not necessarily in your order, but your philosophy on kind of on those impact numbers. One thing I look at is, the guys in college who like are happy to take the long 2 instead of taking a step back and shooting the 3. And so as far as shot selection goes, how much, and answer this with your gut, answer this with data, I don't care, but I'm curious what your thought is on how much guys can and will change in the NBA once they get NBA coaches breathing down their necks about that kind of stuff. Because I know that's one of the knocks on Ace, right? Like, is he going to pull back and take a 3 instead of taking those long 2s? I mean, what do you think about that as far as shot profile?
Yeah, I think there's two things that go into this, and you have to get to the root of why it is happening. Are you a Johnny Davis where you're doing all of this difficult stuff, but you're doing it because you can't do anything else? Like you can't get to a more efficient shot. You don't have the burst to get all the way to the rim. You don't have the craft to be an off the dribble 3-point shooter, and you don't have the willingness to do that. If you are one of those players where you're taking difficult shots, you're kind of hitting those difficult shots, but you're only doing it because that's the only options you have. Oh, buddy, it's not getting easier in the NBA. Like that player is never going to translate in my eyes. Now, if you're a player that's taking those shots because fuck it, nobody can guard me, I'm taking them. There's wiggle room there, right? Brandon Ingram takes a lot of those shots because nobody can block it. And we've seen Brandon Ingram in a spot where he's willing to take threes and he's willing to adjust his shot diet under coaches that really emphasize that stuff. And he's embraced it. Is it his first instinct? No. But is he willing to be a good soldier and do what's best for the team? Absolutely. I think Ace very much falls into the latter category of, if he got put in a system today, like if he got put on Joe Mazzulla's team and Mazzulla was like, dude, you're 6'10, you got to take 12 threes a game, he would take 12 threes a game. I don't know if that would be his preferred way of playing, but I think he would be like, cool, man, you telling me I'm getting 12 shots? I'm taking them. That's how I think Ace would be. Now, I think there's other things with Ace, other than shot selection, that like bring him down for me. Like I think it's just a lack of processing, and it's just things develop slowly there, and then that does play into the offense a little bit. Like you end up taking difficult shots because you can't see better options, and you're just like, I can do this. You have a lot of confidence in yourself, and you end up taking that. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. I still think that, like, people talk about like the fact that he doesn't have a great handle and he won't be a primary. I'm not concerned about that. I think you can be a guy that returns top 3 player value without a crazy tight handle or anything like. I mean, Jaylen Brown, Jaylen Brown doesn't have a handle. We won Finals MVP, right? If Ace Bailey was Michael Porter Jr. with a healthy back, and you telling me someone got to buy into being a 10 rebound per game guy and blocks 2 shots a night, or a block and a half per night, that guy is a max level player and is going to contribute to a championship, right? Like I totally see it, but I'm just gonna bet on the numbers. That's where I'm at. That's with regards to him being a top 3 guy. I would still take him in the top 10, no question.
Sense.
Yeah, I think that's why. That's why I still have him in my top 4. VJ's athleticism and shooting ability faulted him above Ace to me, but he's still 6'10". I still believe he can get to the right coach that implements, hey, you're shooting from these areas of the court, and he can block shots, he can rebound. My process is the Michael Porter Jr. with the healthy back, and that is still high lottery for me. As for the Duke center, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, especially because I'm running at 2 snails per minute. But Duke's and Anibal, they're a one unit on defense, and he is like the base of the unit. Him and Cooper, they put him at the top of the zone at times when they go in zone, and they also have him hedge and recover well. So I understand why you love him so much. I will be fearful if he just can't score, and sometimes I'm worried about that with all bigs.
Scoring? You said score?
So that's my if you can hear me.
Yeah,
I'm worried about that for all bigs. Derek Queen is the opposite for me. Love him. He's a bucket. I don't know if he's going to defend in the league. I worry about him on that end, but I understand why people love him. And Trey is also a bucket, but he a bucket off screens. He goes crazy. He gets 40, and I'm always gonna be a sucker for that. And he can create separation, so that's why he's in my top 5.
Yeah. So look, with regards to come on. Let's just say, come on. With regards to him, here's where I'm at. I think he has a real pathway to being a one-man defensive system. And when you have a standing reach that measures out 1 inch taller than Wemby, I'm super interested in that player on the court. You don't even have to be as mobile as
He's huge.
Wemby.
He's huge.
Yeah. He's legitimate. I mean, I think he's listed at 250, which would be the heftiest center on the Pelicans at the moment. But but look, there's some questions with regards to his mobility. I talked to a couple of people that have scouted him, and what they said was that like a couple of years ago in Basketball Without Borders, this he's a South Sudanese kid, I believe. But they were at Basketball Without Borders. They're kind of watching him play. They're like, this guy is insanely fluid. He was doing grab and goes off rebounds, incredibly fluid dribble moves, stringing stuff together, passing in the open court. And they were like, oh, and he was willing to shoot it. And I think, you saw some of it last summer too. He's willing to let the ball fly from deep. And he gets to Duke, and there's a little bit of question about like, has he gotten stiffer as he's gotten older, maybe a little bit bigger? Like, is he moving the same way? And I think that's valid, because so much of being a god tier defensive big is being able to play pick and roll defense in a way that you're playing the cat and mouse, and that you have to backpedal at a certain speed, you have to cover a certain amount of ground at a certain amount of time. There's just fluidity that you have to have that people are wondering if Cummins has. And it's a fair question. I think, he has to get to the combine and test really well. Teams have to get him in their own gyms, put him through things that they don't test at the combine, and figure out, what room do they have to grow into with him with regards to strength and mobility and flexibility, hip flexion, foot speed, that kind of stuff. They have to put him through their own tests. But when I watch Duke, I see a team that consistently puts him out on the perimeter on defense and says, hold your own, we're not sending help. Hold your own. Like, take that switch, guard 23 feet away from the basket, guard up to the 3-point line. Most recently in the Alabama game, Mark Spears got him on a switch a couple times, and he just went, nope, not dealing with that. And so I think just off principle, if you can be a one-man defensive system, that's a top 3 pick in any draft, in my opinion. Like, you're guaranteeing a defense. Here you go. That's a top 3 pick, which is ironic because I was not a Klingon lover last draft, mostly because I didn't buy the system aspect of it with him. I thought he was not be someone that can play more than 25 minutes a game. I was like, I've never seen him do it. I want to see him do it. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think. I think he can be special defensively, and offensively, I think there is optimism based off stuff he showed before getting to Duke. And I think Duke is not very creative with how they use their big men. And 2, they don't need him to do anything else but be a high efficiency play finisher. I mean, that is how a lot of their offense functions. They're able to get Knipple or flag in the middle of the floor, where defenses has to pick between them getting a good shot at the rim or Mullock getting a lob, and it just puts so mumuch pressure on other teams that, yeah, like, he just has to be big and showcase his 7 foot, I think 9 standing. 9'9" standing reach, just insane.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not the same. Like, I can't remember. You probably do with Rudy. I know Rudy was taken down in the first round, so a little much different as far as how he was profiled. But like, Rudy couldn't shoot at anything, right? Like, free throws, like, he was terrible, and that's already just very different from the situation here.
Yeah, and like, Rudy still doesn't have hands, and I think there's been some question about Malawak's hands. I do know that he's had a thumb injury for quite some time, and that's prevented him from being able to catch stuff. So, it's we'll see if that's something that persists. But like, I mean, I'm not too worried. I was looking at someone's graph the other day, man. I wish I could remember their account, but he has like one of the best finishing rates for like any big man that's ever like played in the NBA. And I think that, and it's not just dunks. Of course he can dunk everything, but it's just, the on layups too. It's just like this guy is I want to say he's like at 75% at the rim right now or something absurd. It's just it's a completely ridiculous percentage.
Do you see him as someone who's I guess during the combine and all that, you got players that rise. Like I always think back to Dame way back when, as like the Pelicans were like, can we get AD and Damian Lillard? And then that became like a not even close to possibility. But do you see him as a guy that is most likely to jump into the top 5 or even get to 4 out of anyone else you're looking at?
If he has a good combine, I really think he'll make a jump. Because I think the top 4 is pretty much consensus. Like I'm pretty against consensus by not having Ace in the top 4. I think the top 4 is some combination of Ace and VJ and then the other 2 guys. Like that's pretty consensus. And I think it just takes one combine for okay, this guy has like the foot speed of Anthony Davis or something like that, like some absurd stat to come out of the combine. And him to have his pro day with every one of these guys these days has an agency pro day. He is repped by Clutch, by the way, which Pelicans have a lot of Clutch players right now. So no fights with Clutch going on. Oh, we still got Jeremy. I didn't know if you were still around. Sorry. Well, guess we're getting
I'm still here, man. I'm trying to make it happen.
Okay. But yeah, like he goes to a pro day and he goes he goes into shooting drills and he goes like 20 of 25 on the threes or something like that kind of stuff. And then the videos come out of him like doing chair work, in the post or like doing advanced ball handling skills and like that kind of stuff in this pro day. Like I think someone's gonna be like, yeah, this guy's the real deal.
I'm not falling for it. I'm falling for it again. I fell for it for E. I fell for it from Obama. I'm not falling for it again. I want you to be a great defender. Any other score, and I'll take his land gap. Because I understand he's going to be. He is a mountain of a man who's an elite defender.
I will say I have it on good authority that he passes the good human test.
Oh man. Who, since I kind of asked that question about him potentially being a guy who jumps, is there who else is on your list, Schmidt, as someone that with a good combine could jump up into the range where let's talk worst case scenario because this is the Pelicans and they end up at 6 or something like that, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Is there a guy that's you feel like with a good combine could jump up there and like be someone that not just like a guy that you love, but a guy that you think consensus could love if stuff breaks right?
Yeah, I think Queen for sure. Derek Queen, Maryland. I think we've brought him up on this pod before, but he is someone when I watch him, I'm like, that's DeMarcus Cousins. Like that's how Boogie used to play in the NBA. And he is, the issue is Boogie had a 7'5" wingspan. And I think, was like 6'11" or whatever his height was, 6'10". I think Queen might be 6'9" on a good day. So if it comes out that Queen's measuring 6'10" barefoot and he has a 7'3", 7'4" wingspan, I could see him being very much in this top 5-6 conversation, or he rises up the board just because this concern of him being a 6'9" big is gone. It's unlikely. I see some suggestions over here for like Trey Johnson, but I think he's already in that range.
He's already
jumping up. The guy that I could also see with a good combine jumping up is Fears. I don't love Fears as a prospect. I
Okay.
have to quit. I typically, like I think like if you would have asked me 2 years ago, I'd be like, Fears is the guy. He's gotta be number 3 overall. Like this is the guy because I gravitate towards these like speedy guards who put a ton of pressure at the rim,
Yeah.
get to the free throw line. Just downhill guards that are not very big. I loved Scoot. I loved
But big
Kyra.
enough, like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, so Fears is one where it's like if he has like and he measures out like 6'4" or something, or if he measures out like 6'3.5" barefoot or something like that. I would consider that a good combine for him, and if he has like a plus wingspan, because then you could talk yourself into this guy not being overtly tiny, where he's going to compromise your defense. Someone like a Sharif Cooper from the past, and even like Kyra, who was 167 pounds. If Fears comes in decently sized, he's so young and so productive that I can see someone being like, "Yeah, the shooting's going to come around on him." Like every other indicator is like pretty solid. So he would be my guy as a surprise. But yeah, Jay, you're gonna say something on Fears?
No, I'm just he's a blur. He gets to the line.
Yep.
No.
Oh.
Going through the chat here, Robert says Nee Clifford's going to have a J-Dub rise if his measurements are on point. 6'10" wingspan would change things. Could make him into a late top 10. I don't know. I feel like recently Neek's the exact kind of player that like teams have been like, he'll be there. Like we're not going to like go out of our way to take him. I think of Tristan Da Silva, who I mean, obviously not the same kind of like defensive player, but he went later last year. I think there's been a number of like older wings that like that have not gone as high as they could have. We got Jay back. Did we get Jay back? Anyways, going back to Neek and J Dub, not our J Dub, the J Dub on the Thunder, the guard one. Going back to that, I think that J Dub had a rise because they were like, this guy has some real like on ball equity. I don't know if Neek has the same thing, but maybe. Do we have our J Dub back?
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
All right.
I got you.
I was asking about Kasparis from Illinois. What can he do in your mind, what can he do can regain that top half of the lottery status?
Mason, you have a strong opinion on this one?
think I'm going again.
Wait. I do not. He's one of the guys I watched in the tourney, and I don't know. I just didn't see it as someone I wanted to draft. I wanted to draft top 5. So just kind of an eye test thing for me. But at least he was there. My guy Trey Johnson, Texas didn't exactly make that same kind of impact. So
I would say, obviously the biggest question mark around him is his size. Again, so same thing. Like if he measures out decently well, has some good lane agility stuff, some good physical testing, then I think a team can be like, yeah, he's a legit shooter. The 32% stuff is like product of his shot diet. It probably does not, reflect who he is. He gets to the free throw line and is a top 2 passer in this class. Like some team would do it. I don't know if the Pels would do it. If that answers your question, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's good. If I could still be heard, we got the question from Road Wire, guys that we'll buy a second for. I've liked Clayton Jr. from Florida all year. He has an elite trait with shooting, and why not? Yes, he's gonna be an older guy, but I always take shooting in this league, so I would do it for him.
Yeah, I think you would find fans of his in the Pelicans front office. I'll say that. Um, these productive guards that can shoot. They're popular. Uh, Here's something I do want to say before we talk about some of these other prospects, or I guess I want to get your guys' gauge on. First of all, I Sam Vecini of the Athletic, who does an incredible job with regards to the draft and the prospects. He asked me earlier today. He apparently someone on his show asked him, so this is a chain of question asking going on. He asked me if San Antonio jumped into the top three, and the Pelicans were also in the top three, and they offered the third pick and Devin Vassell for Trey Murphy, would you trade it?
No.
All right, why no?
I think my answer no, because if I'm in the top three and I'm 3, that means I'm 1 and 2, and I'll take my chances with Dylan Harper and Trey Murphy, and not get Devin Vassell. That's how I take it. I won't use 2 first-round picks. I'll just keep Trey. He's still 25 on a good contract.
This is a organizational trajectory type question. This is all right, do you feel like the Pelicans can turn things around quickly? Because if so, you hang up the phone. But if you're willing to hit that reset button, that tired reset button for New Orleans, it's a hard one. It's a hard one to pass up. I guess I'm trying to think like a year from now, what's Trey Murphy's value? Like that's the frame of reference I'm trying to put on this, is like, do I think I could get better for Trey Murphy a year from now? And like, if you think more first round pick lottery tickets is better, like, I don't know if you're never going to get a better pick probably than 3.
It is such a crazy. I'm with you. I feel like, so here's where I'm at. I guess to your point about like, yeah, I think they would need to blow it up. My condition would be you do this kind of trade if, okay, let's say you got Cooper, especially number 1, you got to get Cooper. You got Cooper, and then you get pick number 3 as well. So you're probably getting VJ. Whoever, VJ, Ace, whoever you want with Cooper, VJ, whatever. Cumming had a great combine. You're getting him at 3. Let's just say that. And then you trade Zion for some picks, some whatever, some package of picks, and then you trade Herb for some package of picks. You use CJ's expiring to take on a bad deal and get some picks. And now you're looking at, okay, Devin Vassell, you go put up 25 points a game on this terrible team along with Cooper. Obviously, we're going to continue to feed him, but you get the pleasure of playing with Victor Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg, all these crazy number 1 picks. Go put up a lot of points, and then a year from now, we're going to send you on a contender, and you get, a couple picks, 2 picks, 3 picks. And so it's just like, yeah, that is kind of very tempting of a position to be in. You could be terrible next year. You could be the sweepstakes for the 2026 draft, which is allegedly even better. That's crazy. I would consider that if I had full ability to blow it up.
Yeah, you've got the potential for an OKC level or speed. Not necessarily. You can't say you're going to be as good as OKC is. That's crazy. But like the speed with which they're able to kind of turn things around. That's what you're looking at if you've got that on the table.
But I think in a vacuum, call me crazy, I would not do it. And a big driver of it is, I think I was going to say this earlier and I got a little bit sidetracked, but I don't think that this is a good draft with regards to top end talent. I think someone at the Ringer or someone at the Athletic made the point that outside of one, then like Dylan would go like 5th in the 2023 draft or something like that, which had the
that's the question that I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Would you take Dylan or Amen Amen Thompson as a prospect at 2,
Thompson.
and he went 4th.
Right.
And he went 4th. So if I'm going 1 or 2, give me 2 plus Trey plus Zion plus Herb, and we still can go places with that healthy. I would take that swing.
Yeah.
Instead of the recess swing.
That's where I'm at. But yeah, I think I wouldn't do that. And then now now I guess we've established that this draft may not be quite that deep. So if they weren't that deep, let's say you land at 4. No, sorry. Yeah. Let's say 4. Like, what would you be looking for with regards to accomplishing a trade back if you don't love anyone at 4?
Trade
first is I may just want more picks. I don't know.
But what kind of picks? You know what I mean?
CJ's contract. So if I go like 6, similar to what San Antonio did with Minnesota and got a 20-30 first.
Yeah.
If I could go back and then get a couple late future first round picks, I would do that.
I don't necessarily buy that our front office feels like it's going to have the time to make a deal like that. That's just kind of the thing. I like the idea.
I don't know. I'm just so curious if someone's like, gotta get Ace Bailey. Ace is there at 3. I have 4. Gotta get Ace Bailey. And they're just like, here's a player that's going to contribute next year. Here is, XYZ set of picks. Like, I don't know. I mean, Brooklyn has a ton of picks. I think they have 4 in this draft. And I think 4 in the first round. Or is it San Antonio? Between San Antonio and Brooklyn, there's like six picks in the first round. Yeah, I think it's Brooklyn has 4. They have 27, 26, 17, and their own at 6.
Yep. Yeah.
Brooklyn's a good trade back target. What if they were like, we'll give you Cam Johnson and Cam Johnson for say CJ, and then you get whatever that pick is, 26. Yeah, the New York pick.
What's Cam Johnson? What's his contract right now?
So
looking.
I would say 2 years left, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking now. But like
And
Cam Johnson's
Would I do it?
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't.
So you're saying
Cam?
You're saying Cam plus? Let me get the trade. Let me say Cam 26, and then they're swapping lottery picks for CJ and all lottery pick.
Oh, okay. If you put it that way,
Is that
yeah.
how we doing it?
Swapping lottery picks, yeah. I was just, yeah.
We're going up. So swap lottery picks 26
wow. My
and
value
Cam.
is really bad.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah, Mason. Sorry, if you were
because I was like, they're staying. They keep their lottery pick.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's a straight up Cam Johnson and the lotto pick swap. So you go from 4 to say 7. Let's say 7. Let's say they fell back.
And it's swapping CJ for Cam Johnson.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
No. Like no, I'm not. Like I'm not, because like I don't buy it. I don't feel like the Pelicans are close enough right now where they can say like the way to, like, just because of the injured DeJounte, like that would be putting too much on the here and now, I think, for my liking, to drop 3 spots in the draft like this. Like, I think I'd rather, I need more to move down 3 spots.
Okay, so here's my question. Again, this all goes back to like how big of a gap you see between 4 and 7 and that kind of stuff. So so like here, let's like it's Ace Bailey on one hand at 4, and then let's say Giacchionis goes 5, Maluak goes 6. At 7, you'll have Trey Johnson, you'll have Queen, you have I mean, I don't know if it's worth discussing any of the other guys, but you'll have Trey Johnson, you'll have Queen. Let's say Trey Johnson goes 5 and Yakionis goes 6. You'll have Malawak at 7, right? So you'll have one of the
No.
3 of
Yes,
Malawak,
yes.
Kasparis, and I don't know. I would do it. Cam Johnson. What if? All right.
That's
To make it more
exactly how
difficult for
my
you.
thought process was.
What if to make it more difficult for you? How do you first of all do you view Claxton as a positive? Yes or no? As in like, do I got to be incentivized to take Claxton if I'm a team, or do you have to pay to go get Claxton?
I think Sean would think that he
I don't care what Sean thinks. I'm asking what you think.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think at best he's just neutral value that I'm not giving up anything for Clax's contract.
Yeah, I'm hoping Eve can be what Claxton is for cheaper.
Exactly.
I would say Claxton is a contract that I would need to be incentivized to take on. So let's say that is his value. Would you do Jeremy to make this harder for you? Or no, this doesn't make it harder for Jeremy at all. To make it harder for Mason, would you do Cam Johnson and Claxton for CJ and DeJounte and the lotto pick swap?
Damn. Okay. That's such a. I haven't even wrapped my head around the fact that DeJounte is just like this negative asset now. Like I like it's so frustrating. But he's got to be right with an Achilles injury, and so I think I think like the realist in me says that's probably a deal you got to do. Like I don't like it, but
I mean, you would theoretically.
I'm doing it in 3 seconds.
Yeah, 3 seconds. You'd probably start like this point Zion thing where with a lot of wings. So it's Zion, Cam, Trey, Herb, and Claxton. That's a good defensive team that Willie Green would love, but would probably never get.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing it in a second, just in 3 seconds, just for the reasons you said. I love Cam. Is another wing I can use. Claxton gives me between Claxton, Kellyo, and Eves, I will have 48 minutes. Carlo, I don't want to upset the crazies. And Carlo, I'm having nice in a rotation. Man. Yeah, I'd do that and fall back 3 seconds, 3 spots. Because again, Cam, Malawak, guy from Illinois, I have them all in the same tier. I don't have Ace that far ahead of them where I feel as though I'm going to miss out. And I theoretically have my vision for Ace. I got like 90% of that in Cam Johnson. So yes. And most importantly, I get off of DeJounte Murray's contract. I'm off that contract. So yes, I do that in New York.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
Yeah. Makes me
Remember when he was the number one reason for the trade was the value of his contract?
I do remember.
Mike cry. What in the spirit of the trade back scenarios? What is your because you were struggling. You talked earlier about wanting to put VJ at 2, but you can't do it, right? What is your price for depending, I haven't thought about the actual lottery order scenario, but like to go from 2 to 3. Someone really, really wants Dylan. You're good taking VJ. Is there what's the price that you'd be looking for to go from 2 to 3?
Oh man, that's so hard. I don't know because I don't know if there's a great precedent to it. I would need because I don't even think it's just about like you being okay with it. not useful in a negotiation because
Sure,
you'd just
sure.
be like, you're just doing it off the pure value of 2, and you can really drum up like, no man, Dylan's the guy. Like
What's the Luka
Dylan,
Trey is probably the closest example you get, right?
yeah, and the net outcome of that ended up being the
Yeah,
8th pick or the 10th pick, the Cam Reddish pick, which was
the 10th pick.
yeah,
The Crash Reddish pick is 10.
should have picked PJ or Tyler Harrow or whoever. Anyways,
I was thinking Tyler Hero. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. That is the other one is like when the Celtics like dropped from number 1 to number 3. That one's also kind of crazy, and
Yeah.
they got like the potential. The Kings
And that was another
pick.
future first.
Yeah, Kings pick was going to be crazy, and then they also got like something else. There was like a pick. I don't know. They got like a really good projected lotto pick and another thing I believe out of that. So I would look for something similar along those lines.
It was the Kings pick that dropped to 14.
But people were like, the Kings
pick
could
that
be
dropped to
awful.
14.
Yeah.
Oh, and a Memphis pick.
And the
It was a
Memphis
Memphis
pick,
pick that
exactly.
also dropped.
Yes.
It was a Memphis pick. Yep.
So it would have to be like,
Why do I
man, who's going to be
remember?
terrible next year? Probably Charlotte. Yeah, I would need a Charlotte pick.
Oh man.
That's
Yeah.
tough. I mean, that's a good question, and I think these are conversations that like people who actually get paid to make decisions need to have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure. I think the correct answer.
We have a
is like,
non-draft question in the chat.
okay, let's do it.
Let's do that one right quick.
This one right here. It says, "Why could
That'd be
Reeves
the
not
one.
get more run earlier?" I have opinions, but I will wait and hear from you guys first. Not. No.
You Jay, you grabbed it. You picked it, so I wanted to hear. Yeah.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you picked it.
Yeah, pecking order. They still want to believe in the first round pick that could supposed to be a shooter. They had other guards that they paid before to get playing time, but I would say the number one reason is their former 14th overall pick is supposed to be a shooter, so you have to prove yourself right first. And now that it doesn't matter, Reeves, who looks like, I would say it wasn't a Cleveland game because everyone, he went 34 points. It was a game that I can't remember. In the Clippers game, and he played like just 12 minutes, but he said so many right things. So many things. He spaced out when needed. He understand when to cut. It's the little things that I enjoyed during that game. And then, for the last 2 weeks, he's been shooting the cover off the ball. So that would be the reason why he didn't get playing time, in my opinion. But I think he should stick around for next year.
Willie Green, baby, come on.
Okay,
that was an easy answer.
I think
you got to be.
I think both of you are correct. There's just a lot of players that were ahead of him. I think that's the in terms of available perimeter minutes. For yes, the Pelicans had a ton of injuries that obviously culminated in that Cleveland game that Jeremy was talking about, but in and around that, like CJ's generally been available. There was a moment in time where Brandon was available, right? And so you have Trey come back. I guess Herb. You've had who was the vet minimum? Jalen Noel. If you sign a vet minimum,
Jalen Noel, man. Oh, what's my man from the Heat that came? Jamal Cain.
Jamal Cain had to get tryout. Gotta go through your rookie. Gotta go through your rookie stuff. Obviously DeJounte. Yeah, DeJounte's the other guy. Point being, at the guard spots, there were particularly limited minutes because CJ really wasn't out for that long, and then Jordan was obviously ahead of him, and then DeJounte was around and things like that. So I would say he's probably gotten better too. Well, yeah, exactly. I'd say he's probably gotten better as a rookie from where he was back then to what he is now, and I hope it sticks. I hope he becomes a contributor. It'd be great to have a fun guard off the bench. Let's hit up these
Go ahead.
this question right here from Funky, who's saying any Taylor Jenkins thoughts, real quick.
Look, I mean, I do have thoughts, and it's a players league, and I think we've seen the most egregious example now of if you feel like your coach has lost the locker room or not, players are not buying in anymore, and you feel like you're not going to hurt things by making a change. They made a change. I don't agree with it. But if they truly felt like they don't have a chance in the playoffs as things are stand right now by keeping things status quo, and the team, we were talking before the season about how Memphis was probably going to win the division. I think we all kind of agreed that Memphis was probably the favorite to win the division, even though I think that the number said Dallas was, and that team is good and deep, and they should be able to make a deep run in the West. And if you don't feel like that they can do that under Taylor Jenkins, you make a move. But it feels surprising to me. I'll just say that.
I want to go last.
Okay. I think you have to have total alignment from your ownership downwards to be able to do this 9 games before the playoffs. And you read the reporting that's around this with the number of assistants that got let go, and not just this year, this past summer, they cleaned house totally and completely. They've somehow managed to light like $20 to $40 million on fire over assistant coaches, the coaches in general, because Jenkins made significantly more money than that. So yeah, you got to have a ton of ownership support. And the reporting also said that they were unable to beat 500 level teams or better, or good teams. And I was like, it sounds a little bit familiar. And just a number of like criticisms with regards to winning, basically, in the mettle of the team. My comment on the situation is Mike Brown was let go. I think he's a good coach. Jenkins was let go. I think he was a good coach. The Pelicans ownership, I don't know if anyone listens. If you want to make a decision, there's a couple good coaches out there that are on the market. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
They should have did this shit last year. They had their out. They should have did it last year. This is unprofessional. This is bullshit, in my opinion. Let them finish the goddamn season out. Taylor Jenkins didn't trade a total of 3 first-round picks for a dude that played like 25 games. Taylor Jenkins didn't embarrass a dude after the Lakers series.
So you're saying that wasn't a smart decision? Is that what you're saying?
Are we getting Zach Lemon slander on the podcast?
Oh, we sure are. We sure are.
Oh no.
But it's his first coach, so he gets the benefit of the doubt. He gets to tell the owner that I can fix this. But
that's the job now. Right?
I don't think Zach Kleiman has made a positive transaction since 2021.
Oh damn!
And it's 2025.
Damn.
And so yeah,
you're not counting draft picks as transactions.
I mean, you found a rotation player at Wells. Congratulations.
Right. Obviously, I mean,
from 2021. So after Aldama.
Okay.
After Aldama. So it's a lottery pick who people have difference of opinion about. Read Matt Moore's Substack that he dropped today. It's a lot of insight on what's going on in Memphis. But I'm not saying Taylor Jenkins shouldn't have been fired. I'm saying Zach Kleiman did this really unprofessional, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. I mean, It also like
because
just
coaches
send the
get
message.
fired. Coaches get fired.
Yeah.
You know. So
This. Yeah, I mean, just sending the message with the assistants. I think that's pretty interesting. Unfortunate. It's how the business goes, but it's now up to the GM to start producing. How much of it falls on Ja being just as reliable as Zion?
well, if you saw my
I didn't
my
see
blue
anything.
sky. Now,
Let us know. Tell us.
let us know. Tell us. Well, Zion, as injury prone Zion is, and he definitely is, he has played 12 more games than Ja since the start of the 2022-2023 season. Basically, since he's made All NBA. His shooting numbers, his efficiency has gone down each of the last 3 seasons. And he's been unavailable. And Jenkins, especially this year, did a lot. Turned Jaren Jackson Jr. into an offensive hub that if you would have watched them last season, there's no way you could think of that. He has helped improve and developed and improved Desmond Bain playmaking every year of his career. The fact that he has to now lay on this sword is ridiculous.
Results-based business, baby.
Yep. I wanted to hit on this one from John. It's, in regards to the Pelicans, because I think it's an interesting topic around that. Saying Jenkins would be a solid hire, but his asking price is going to be $8 million plus a year, and I don't see the Pelicans going that rich for a head coach. I share those concerns in the short term, but not in the long term. I guess my thought is, we talked about before that they're going to pay Dennis Allen next year, and they're going to, assuming that Willie Green leaves, they're going to pay Willie Green next year. So they're going to for next year specifically, they're going to be in a position potentially where they're paying 4 head coaches across the Saints and Pelicans. That said, I guess I don't see the Pelicans as a team that's going to pinch pennies when it comes to your head coach. I feel the most recent, they went out and got Griff, and he was one of the 2 names on the market at the time, the hot names for for that position. I guess we don't have an example. I mean, they went and grabbed Stan Van Gundy, so they're not afraid of going and get a name versus just a guy like Willie Green, who's was an assistant somewhere else. So I don't know. It's a weird kind of catch-22 right now, because I feel like this offseason specifically, maybe there is an aversion to paying more money than usual because of the situation across both franchises. But I feel like, generally speaking, I wouldn't assume that they're just not going to spend on a head coach. Do you feel similarly or differently, Schmidt?
I think so many head coach salaries for the NBA are now public that you kind of get shamed if you don't. The other thing is, I think they spent $8 million a year on Stan Van Gundy. I think that was the number for Stan Van. So just some thought for perspective.
I won't go too in depth. We got some off season to talk about coaching stuff if that takes place, but I don't think money's going to be the issue, personally.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I think we've gone on for a while now. I think let's do another prospect-related pod. Let's talk about just in the future. We'll talk about some of maybe the deep draft guys, some of the steals in the second round.
Yep.
Maybe talk about some of the actual games of the players that we just didn't get a touch on. I know we touched on some of the main guys, but or who we like in general. But yeah. Jay, we missed you last time. Gonna kick it off to you.
Hey, if I can make it through the Matrix, I want to tell all y'all, all 20 of you guys who came live, thank you for showing up. Thank you for tolerating my internet. If you do love what we do, hit the like button, the thumbs up button, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. And bleep Jeff Landry. We out.
See ya.